Between Gemini's new DeepThink version, OpenAI leaking and then retracting both their open source model and maybe GPT-5, plus new agents from Manus, the AI model wars are heating up in a huge, huge way. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. This is one of those shows where there is a better than I'd like chance that by the time you're actually listening to it, a huge amount of the information has changed because something has just been released. But given that, I'm going to try to get it out as soon as possible. And I think even if some new models have been released in the meantime, the broader point that model competition is heating up significantly right now is going to remain. So to dig into this, obviously, if you are paying attention to AI right now, the big thing that everyone is waiting for is GPT-5. It feels like we are a matter of days away from this. We've seen more and more examples of what people think is GPT-5 in the wild. We had a bunch of what we thought were test models that were taken off the testing arena, suggesting that it was getting ready for release. And then just today, we got GPT-5 for a few minutes only to see it get removed. Basically, very briefly on Hugging Face, a new reported OpenAI model called GPT-5 New Proxy API EV3 popped up only to be withdrawn very, very quickly thereafter. In addition, we got what looked like OpenAI's open source model. In fact, it looked like we got two versions of it, GPT OSS 120B and GPT OSS 20B. So potentially a 120 billion parameter version and a 20 billion parameter version. Chedislua writes, the repo only provided 3 bits of info, dtypes, config.json, and the weights. Now, people dug in very quickly to the limited information we had, with a lot of people assuming that this was actually an intentional leak to build up hype. People are speculating about the architecture, thinking that it's a mixture of experts model, and other people are just starting to get hyped. VracerX writes, Elon says OpenAI betrayed their mission, but meanwhile, OpenAI just leaked O3 level open source models and deleted them. Too late. 120 billion parameters, MOE with 4 experts runs on a single H100. 130K context, rope scaled, blazing fast, multilingual code native FP4 train. No API, no gatekeeping, just raw weights. They write this might be the biggest open source moment since DeepSeek. Mistral who? Meta what? If this is real, the monopoly just cracked. Now, a lot of the dissection so far is pretty technical and obviously doesn't have anything to do with the sort of use case discussion that is the bread and butter of this show. But the point is that it appears that in addition to GPT-5 coming very soon, we are very much on the verge of getting their open weights model as well. And at least from the developer community, there is easily as much excitement about that. Although to be fair, there is also some amount of lingering skepticism. Nathan Lambert writes, I welcome all contributions to open model ecosystem, but seriously doubt we can rely on OpenAI to be a long-term champion we need in releasing more models. Happy to be proven wrong. We'll see what the next couple days bring. Now, if a lot of the excitement is about the theoretical OpenAI models coming soon, Google swooped in with something that I don't think people really expected. You'll remember that recently we got both OpenAI and Google achieving the equivalent of a gold medal on the International Math Olympiad with state-of-the-art versions of their models. While Sam Altman made it clear that exactly that version wouldn't be coming to consumers anytime soon, Google just dropped their version of that model. It's called Gemini 2.5 DeepThink. CEO Sundar Pichai writes, we're bringing a version of DeepThink that achieved gold medal status at IMO to Ultra subscribers in the Gemini app, and the official version is now in the hands of mathematicians. So editor's note here, it sounds like this is close enough for them to claim it's the same thing, but there are some differences apparently with the version that some number of mathematicians have. Anyways, Pichai continues, toggle it on when reasoning through complex scientific literature, tackling a coding problem that requires careful consideration of time complexities, or anything else Demis Hassabis considers a fun Friday night. Putting my branding hat on for a second, being geeky and playful is a good fit for Google. They should do more of this. In their blog post, they talk a little bit more about how DeepThink works. Basically, they say that it extends Gemini's parallel thinking time. Just as people tackle complex problems by taking the time to explore different angles, weigh potential solutions, and refine a final answer, DeepThink pushes the frontier of thinking capabilities by using parallel thinking techniques. This approach lets Gemini generate many ideas at once and consider them simultaneously, even revising or combining different ideas over time before arriving at the best answer. By extending the inference time or thinking time, we give Gemini more time to explore different hypotheses and arrive at creative solutions to complex problems. We've also developed novel reinforcement learning techniques that encourage the model to make use of these extended reasoning paths, thus enabling DeepThink to become a better, more intuitive problem solver over time. Now, the principle of this makes total sense to me, right? It's not dissimilar to the core idea underlying my Doctor Strange theory, which is basically that when you have this much intelligence, One of the really interesting ways to deploy it is to use a bunch of different scenarios, basically to answer a question in a bunch of different ways, and then see which one seems to be best for whatever set of criteria. So what are the types of use cases that this approach opens up? One, says Google, is iterative design and development. They write, "We've been impressed by DeepThink's performance on tasks that require building something complex piece by piece. For example, we've observed DeepThink can improve both the aesthetics and functionality of web development tasks." The example prompt they give is design and create a very creative, elaborative, and detailed voxel art scene of a pagoda in a beautiful garden with trees, including some cherry blossoms. Make the scene impressive and varied and use colorful voxels. Use whatever libraries to get this done, but make sure I can paste it all into a single HTML file and open it in Chrome. It shared the outputs of Gemini 2.5 Flash, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Gemini 2.5 DeepThink. Other areas they highlight for DeepThink are scientific and mathematical discovery, basically saying it's a powerful tool for researchers, as well as algorithmic development and code. Specifically, they say that it excels at tough coding problems in which formulation and careful consideration of trade-offs and time complexity is paramount. Now, this being a new model release, of course, there had to be some benchmarks, and according to Google at least, DeepThink absolutely crushes them. On humanity's last exam, it meaningfully exceeds Gemini, OpenAI, and Grok 4, which you'll remember just about 5 minutes ago was the model that everyone was talking about. On Live Codebench, it also sees a major jump up. And then, of course, in mathematics, on both the IMO 2025 and the AIME 2025, there is a major step change with this model. Now, so far, not too many people have popped up sharing their early access experiments with DeepThink, so we're going to have to wait a couple days to see what people do with it when they get their hands on it. That said, the people who have had it are reporting pretty favorable first impressions. Writes Professor Ethan Malik, "Very good model, big gains over standard Gemini 2.5 Pro for a lot of problems." One of the examples he gives is the Starship control panel prompt that he tries with every model. We recently shared a version that he thought might be GPT-5, which was very impressive relative to the previous competitors, but he pointed out that this is the first time he's seen a model make a 3D interface in response. By the way, if you were watching this is the one that we previously shared. He wrote the Mystery Model Summit with the prompt, "Create something I can paste into P5.js that will startle me with its cleverness in creating something that invokes the control panel of a starship in the distant future. 2,351 lines of code first time." He also shared his otter on a plane using Wi-Fi and draw a unicorn with TickZ, which, as he says, is a language built for scientific diagrams and very much not for drawing. Now, right now, DeepThink is only available for Ultra subscribers, and over the next couple days, I'll be keeping an eye out for people who are experimenting, and frankly, if I don't see enough of it, I'll just dig in there myself. Now, it's not just raw state-of-the-art frontier models that are interesting right now. There's a lot of interface development happening around the models as well. Manus, for example, on Thursday introduced what they're calling wide research, as opposed to deep research, get it? They write, "Earlier this year, the launch of Manus defined the category of general AI agents and shaped how people think about what agent products can and should be. But to us, Manus was never just an AI. It has always been a one-of-a-kind personal cloud computing platform. Traditionally, harnessing cloud compute for custom workflows has been a privilege reserved for engineers and power users. At Manus, we believe AI can democratize that power. Behind every Manus session runs a dedicated cloud-based virtual machine, allowing users to orchestrate complex cloud workloads simply by talking to an agent. From generating tailored rental presentations to safely evaluating cutting-edge open-source projects, the Turing completeness of the virtual machine is what gives Manus its generality and opens the door to endless creative possibilities. Naturally, we've been asking ourselves, how can we scale the compute available to each user by 100x? And what new possibilities emerge when anyone can control a supercomputing cluster just by chatting? After months of optimization, our large-scale virtualization infrastructure and highly efficient agent architecture have made this vision a reality. Today, we're introducing the first feature built on top of this foundation, Manus Wide Research. They say that basically Manus is a way to go after complex, large-scale tasks that might require information on, for example, hundreds of items. So, for example, if you wanted to understand recent earnings results across all of the Fortune 500, that's the sort of breadth that wide research is designed for. What the wide really conveys, and this goes back a little bit to the architecture conversation we were just having around DeepThink as well, is that this is a system for parallel processing, and those are the words that they use. In fact, they write at its core, wide research is a system-level mechanism for parallel processing and a protocol for agent-to-agent collaboration. The key to wide research, they write, isn't just having more agents, it's how they collaborate. Unlike traditional multi-agent systems based on predefined roles, every sub-agent in wide research is a fully capable general-purpose Manus instance, which is super interesting. Basically, this means that tasks are not bound by a predetermined architecture of agents, but the model can theoretically figure that out. And once again, people are only just starting to get access to wide research, but people are into exploring this approach of breaking research into subtasks and seeing agents work on them in parallel. One more platform that I view in this model battle that is again more of an interface or an approach update than it is just a model improvement is Perplexity's Comet browser. Now, this is something I've talked about a fair bit on this show, but I feel like every day that goes on, I'm seeing more and more people rave about Perplexity Comet and desperately try to get an invite to the system. Take, for example, Toby Lutke, the CEO of Shopify, who wrote, "I'm constantly impressed with Perplexity Comet. Amazing to give it a complex task and watch it claim a tab and toil away at it." Browsers are interesting again. People have been sharing their use cases like cleaning up subscriptions, consolidating information, and more. I think people are definitely seeing in this not just a new type of browser, but as the first step to something bigger. Aravind, and not the Aravind Srinivas, who is the CEO of Perplexity, writes, "Comet browser is getting really innovative. Now we can easily automate mundane things we do on the net. I see it as an early precursor to an AI OS. I'm worried Zuck and his Meta, who suck all our data, is going to get there first. I hope not. I root for Perplexity winning it." Mostly, if you are an enfranchised AI user, what a time to be alive. We've got exciting rumors coming every day, actually super powerful new models to use, agentic systems in practice for the first time, and whole new interfaces to explore. I highly recommend taking some time this weekend to go check out some of these new tools. Although, like I said, it's getting a little pricey given that all of them are coming to their version of an Ultra subscription first. But still, what a time to be alive. Excited to see what we all get to build next. For now, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening as always. And until next time, peace.